Jax has always been the most chaotic character in the amazing digital circus, the one who laughs at everything and never takes anything seriously. But if you pay attention, something feels off, because while everyone else is breaking down, Jax just keeps smiling, pushing things further, acting like nothing affects him, or like he doesn't want it to. Throughout the series, there are brief moments where that mask slips, where the smile fades, and for a second, Jax looks like someone who's about to lose it. In this video, we're going through every single one of those moments, every time Jax is about to be abstracted. The first thing worth understanding about Jax is that his behavior was never random. From the very first episode, he presents himself as the person who has everything under control, the one who finds everything funny, the one who is always one step ahead of whatever chaos is unfolding around him. He is sarcastic, manipulative, confident to a degree that reads as almost performative, and genuinely seems to enjoy pushing people into uncomfortable situations for no reason other than his own entertainment. You might look at all of that and think, that is just who he is. And for a while, the show almost lets you believe that. But the more you watch, the more you notice something underneath all of it. He never lets himself be vulnerable, not even for a second. He deflects emotional moments with jokes, he leaves the room when things get too real, and when he is alone, his body language shifts in a way that is hard to explain except to say that it does not match the person he is when everyone else is watching. In the world of the digital circus, losing your grip on reality means abstracting, and Jax, more than anyone else in the group, is playing with that fire constantly. The early episodes do not give us a single dramatic breakdown moment for him. And I think that is actually one of the more interesting choices the show makes, because the early episodes are not quiet about the fact that something is wrong. They are just quiet about what it is. He exposes himself to more chaos than anyone else. He processes none of it emotionally, and he uses cruelty as a tool to keep people at exactly the distance where they cannot see what is happening to him. Those are not the behaviors of someone who is fine. They are the behaviors of someone who has been managing something very heavy for a very long time, and who has gotten very good at making it invisible. Episode 6 is where the first real crack opens up, and it opens in a way that is easy to miss if you are not paying attention to his face rather than his words. During the shooting game, when only Pomni and Jax are left, she sets up a moment where one of them is supposed to betray the other, playing along with the game's logic. Jax responds completely casually, telling her to go ahead and betray him, which lands as another one of his deflections, another way of saying that none of this matters and that they were never really on the same side. Pomni, genuinely frustrated by that point, asks him whether he thinks that attitude is part of why people around him abstract. And here's the part that I find genuinely fascinating. Jax loses his composure. Not dramatically, not in a way that he cannot recover from quickly, but for one moment he raises his voice and says,
"Oh my God! Are you seriously gonna blame me for something that everybody else did too? You didn't even know him! You don't even know what people are like before they abstract! They are not pleasant to be around. Like at all! You..."
And then he stops, catches himself, and the smirk comes back, like a door closing. That stop is everything, because that reaction is not the response of someone who does not care about the question. It is the response of someone who has thought about that question before, possibly a lot, and who is not prepared to have it asked out loud by someone standing right in front of him. Then Pomni asks what he would do if she abstracted tomorrow, and he answers without missing a beat. He would move on and probably forget about her. She reacts physically, attacking him, biting his leg, throwing things at him, asking him to fight back, and he does not. When she asks why, he gives her the cruelest possible explanation, that he never cared about her or anyone in the circus, that they are his toys, that he enjoys making them suffer, and that if he spent time with her, it was specifically to make this moment hurt more. There is a lot to unpack in that speech, but the thing I keep coming back to is how carefully constructed it is. It is too neat. It covers every angle, anticipates every follow-up question, and lands with the precision of something that was prepared rather than felt. And almost immediately after, during the Favorite Character Awards show, Jax sits down in his seat and something starts happening to him that he clearly did not plan for. He gets up, leaves, goes to the bathroom, stands at the sink, and has a full panic attack. Erratic, heavy breathing. His eyes go wrong in the way they do when a character is close to abstracting. It takes him a while to come back down, and nobody in the group sees it happen. That is the whole point. Whatever he just said to Pomni, the cost of saying it was not nothing. Episode 7 has 3 moments for Jax, all different in tone but connected underneath. The first one is almost quiet. The group is at the beach, and Zubul walks up behind him and throws water on him as payback for everything he has done to her. He barely reacts, which is already strange for him. She tells him he is supposed to be causing trouble for everyone, and then, in a way that is clearly more pointed than it sounds, she tells him that if she had a problem, she would talk to someone she trusts, making clear she is leaving the door open for him. He says he does not have any problems and walks away. The whole exchange takes maybe 30 seconds, and Jax spends most of it not being himself. The deflection is there, but the energy behind it is missing. Later in the same episode, alone in his room, Jax takes out a photo of himself with Ribbit and Kaufmo. A triangular opening appears in the wall, and a disembodied hand comes through it. It's Ribbit's hand. When he takes her hand, he is pulled into an abstract dream landscape, hyper-colored and pulsing, and he looks completely serene inside it, peaceful in a way he has never looked in any other scene. The reading the show seems to be inviting is that in this moment, he is ready to let go. That abstraction, at least in this form, feels like going somewhere rather than losing everything. He is pulled back by Pomni ringing his doorbell. He wakes up visibly shaken, right on the edge of having crossed a line he could not come back from. And then, he goes back to being Jax. The third moment in episode 7 lands differently from the previous two. When he gets the key to Kane's office, he dismisses Gangle and Zubul with the kind of condescending comment he always makes, telling them he will not be doing them any more favors. Zubul fires back, and then he asks her sarcastically whether she has someone waiting for her outside the circus. She turns it around immediately.
Don't you?
And just like that, he loses the thread of the conversation entirely. The dynamic shifts in an instant. He answers with a forced, stuttering
Yeah.
that convinces nobody, least of all him, and then leaves. I think this is one of the more underrated moments in his arc because it shows that the cruelty is not armor-plated. The right question, asked by the right person at the right moment, still gets through. Episode 8 opens with Jax performing the usual version of himself, detached, and making everything into a bit. But midway through the episode, when the group sits with Kinger and he starts sharing what he knows about the history of the digital circus, something shifts in Jax that feels different from all the previous moments. The information clearly affects him in a way he was not prepared for, and rather than sit with it, he uses the excuse of distracting Kane to remove himself from the room. Outside, alone, he has another panic attack. Same pattern as the one in episode 6. The breathing, the eyes, the stress surfacing in a way his body cannot contain. But this one has a specific cause that the earlier ones did not. This is the moment, according to the show, where Jax accepts for the first time that the digital circus is real.
This is real.
That the people in it are real, that what happens to them matters. That is a seismic shift for a character whose entire coping strategy has been built on the belief that none of it is real, that none of them are real, that nothing he does inside this place carries actual weight. The panic attack after Kinger's conversation is not just stress, it is the collapse of the framework he has been using to survive. And the show does not let him process it quietly. Later in the same episode, each character is confronted by their deepest fear, and Jax's version of that is being surrounded by masks that mock him and then begin pulling his skin off, leaving him completely exposed and raw. It is one of the more viscerally uncomfortable images the show has produced, and it is hard to watch it and still believe that the character underneath all of that performance is someone who is doing fine. What makes Jax genuinely unsettling to watch, once you notice all of this, is how consistently the show frames him as someone who is not just difficult, but fragile in a way he has worked very hard to make invisible. He has been closer to abstracting than almost any other character in the series, and every single time, something pulls him back at the last second. Whether it is a doorbell, a smirk that comes back on cue, or just the habit of walking out of the room before the feeling can land. Chapter 9 is where we find out whether that keeps working. I think the most honest question the show is building toward with him is not whether he will abstract, but whether he will finally let someone get close to him emotionally. Close enough to actually see what is going on, close enough that he stops managing it alone. Because based on everything the show has built, that is the only thing that would actually change the trajectory he is on. And I genuinely do not know the answer to that. What do you think? Is Jax going to make it to the end of the series, or is the whole arc building towards something he cannot walk away from? Leave it in the comments, and if you want to keep up with TADC breakdowns as the finale gets closer, subscribing would help. Thanks for watching.